Okay, people, today is the day Santa Claus is coming to town, so whether you are looking to have the happiest Christmas, or you're feeling a little Grinchy, to you just won a major award, or you are stuck home alone, do not worry, because today I am going to be your Rudolph guide to light the way through some of my favorite Christmas movie DIYs I have ever made. You're watching Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney, and a huge welcome back to my Whiskey Craft Buddies who are here each week to DIY with me. And also a huge thank you to you guys as well, because I asked the Craft Buddies what movies you wanted to see me cover this year, because I have done Christmas Vacation now for 5 years, and while we'll do some today, I thought it'd be fun to share the love to some of your guys' other favorite Christmas movies. So grab yourself a drink, and this will give you a hint at what projects we're doing first.
You guessed it, we're kicking things off with the Grinch. So the first thing we're going to make is this fun Who Hash can. And I'm actually using a roll from some transfer tape, but you can use a soup can, literally anything cylindrical that you have, Pringles, whatever. Take some red cardstock and cut it to the size and then hook it to your item. You can use hot glue or you can use double-sided tape, whichever works. Then I cut out this Who Hash decal that will be a free printable over on my blog, but I cut it out on some sticker paper. It's easy enough to cut by hand, and I stuck it right on there. Then that way you don't have to print it to the right size, you just have to print it in approximately the right size. Then to hold our can of Who Hash, I got one of these wood artist hands and some Grinch gloves. I put the glove on the wood hand so then that way I could kind of pose it, and I thought this would be so cute holding the can of Who Hash on my tiered tray. Then to stuff the Who Hash, I am using some of these little squigglies from Hobby Lobby. I use them in so many things and you guys always ask, so these ribbons are from there. And then I had some of this white just fur to be the Santa wrist, and then some red velvet ribbon to be kind of the start of his Santa outfit jacket. Once that's all stuck there, we've got our Who Hash fresh from Whoville, and it is ready to go. I love those little squigglies. They make me think of the Grinch so much, and I just made the hand kind of cup so it would hold the can of Who Hash. Now, I'm sure I'll get a ton of questions on where this Jim Carrey Grinch sign came from, so that's what we're going to DIY next. I actually found this artwork and a ton of other options at alternativemovieposters.com. They have so many different Christmas movies that I got the files and printed them out to the size of these little signs that I have, so I did them for a lot of the movies I'm doing today. I picked up these for like 80 cents a couple months ago at Hobby Lobby on clearance, and all I needed to do was cut them down. They're 4.5 by 6.5, so you can use any clearance sign or photo frame that you want, and you can mount it with hot glue or double-sided tape. I love this because it's a nod to the Jim Carrey one. I love that it looks like a magazine cover, and I am just a huge fan of that Alternative Movie Posters website. When I saw these baubles in Dollar Tree, I knew they would be perfect for a Grinch setup. Originally, I added vinyl for the Grinch face and Merry Grinchmas, but I ended up just twisting around the green one, so then that way it could just add some Grinchy color, but I did have this one peek out the side. I also made a couple more Grinch projects last year, so I wanted to share them here in case you were interested. I can share with you how to make these glittered ornaments complete with free cut files, as well as these small little scrap wood signs. I will link both of those videos in the description so you can check them out. Another place I recommend checking out is Hobby Lobby and Walmart for some of the best Grinch items this year. And here is how I pulled all of my stuff together. So you saw some of these DIYs as well as these little guys. The little Grinch ornament is from Hobby Lobby, same with these two guys. And I made a second hand to look like it was stealing the How the Grinch Stole Christmas book at the bottom. It's the same hand as the top, just turned to the side. And I love this so much. Every time I think of the Grinch, I think of Shannon over at the Daily DIYer, and so I hope I did her proud. Another tip is Walmart is selling Grinch ornaments for almost $5 a pop. Instead, I grabbed this wood large wall decor for under $10. It has 10 pieces. So you get 10 for $10, so they're more like a dollar ornament. You could restring them as ornaments, but I just added them to the overall look and helped me save.
Quick hint for this next movie. If you know the movie, comment down below before we hop into these DIYs, because I cannot wait to get cranking. And the first DIY for this movie I made in my last video, hint right behind me.
When I saw this file of the Wet Bandits on Etsy, I knew I had to buy it and make a pillow of it. So this is a $1.25 Dollar Tree pillow cover that I made over in my last video, which is Christmas Cricket Blanks. So I will link that if you're interested in making this pillow. For this first one, you're going to need a red car. You can get them at a lot of different places, and don't worry if you can't find a red car. Just find some sort of holiday car like this one from the Walmart dollar section, and you can easily paint it red. Mine happened to come from the plus aisle at Dollar Tree just because that's where I found one, but like I said, you can get them anywhere. I'm going to remove any of the extra elements, so I just have a red car, no Christmas car. And then I created this printable for you guys for Little Nero's Pizza. I cut it out, folded it in half, and then added some hot glue and stuck it right to the top of the car where the Christmas tree was originally stuck, and it stayed really, really well. Now, what's a pizza delivery car without some actual pizza? So here's another free printable that you can grab, and it will be all to size for you. You just go ahead and print it. You're going to cut off all of the gray pieces and also those little indents in gray. Then we're going to fold all of the edges like you would a typical pizza box, and it's going to start to come together. Once you have all of your pieces folded, so all of the edges, the top and the bottom, then we are going to trim those little red boxes to create the lid. Once you get them trimmed, both the back two and the front two, it's kind of intuitive once you start going of where to trim them. Then I took a little bit of hot glue to secure them, and it was good to go. You can fold your pizza box in on itself, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention I'm printing this on cardstock that I got from Michael's, so it will hold up a lot better. You could add a cute little pizza artwork on the inside, but I just left it like this, and the back says, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." I teased this next one on my Instagram story last week, and so many of you guys were so excited. I grabbed a gallon paint can as well as 2 quart paint cans. All of them were under 10 bucks together, I think. And I used my Cricut to cut out some of these paint drips, which I will have over for you on my blog with the file pack. Pretty much everything today will be over there. I don't think I purchased anything for this. I created everything, which is awesome. I just applied them by hand. It made it super easy, and you just want to measure and cut them to the size that you want. I also trimmed some of the drips so the handle would still function because I wanted to make sure it could swing if it needed to, if you know, you know, for Home Alone. Now, the real reason I went in and bought that red car at Dollar Tree was because I was there looking for this van. One night, Alex and I decided to watch the movie, and this idea popped into my head, and I was like, I have to go to Dollar Tree and see if that van is still there. I started by taking some acrylic paint and mixing the color that I wanted the van to be. I painted everything except for the bumpers and the side mirrors and the wheels. Now, if you can't find this one, there are a lot of different RVs and vans out there. So again, just use what you have access to and what you can find. While my little van was drying, I cut up some dowel rods in a variety of different sizes to create the roof rack. So it kind of looks like a ladder. I just chopped it down with my tin snips. These are great from Amazon. And I painted the roof rack silver. And then I also did a couple larger dowel rods, I think from a pack from Dollar General, and I painted them gray and black. So I did 2 black, 2 gray, and these are going to be the pipes on the top of the vehicle. Then before I added anything to my van, I used this clear matte sealant. You can also use clear spray paint, but I recommend with the acrylic, you don't want it to chip, especially in storage year to year. So I gave it a really good spray and let it dry. Then the last official step is to just take some hot glue, super glue, whatever you want to use, glue your roof rack as well as your pipes to the top of your OK/Wet Bandit getaway vehicle. And this thing is good to go. Now, I decided to cut out this file on my Cricut, but it's totally not necessary. If you know, you know, you'll see the van and know what it is. But I created the graphic similar enough to what you see in the movie. And if you would like to add it to your van, that will be a free cut file over on my blog as well. If you are engrossed in this section of the video, I know you are a Home Alone fan, so I had to share this wrapping paper with you. A company called Viola sent it to me. They sent me some Halloween paper as well. It's really good quality. It comes in sheets, and look how cute this print is. I was so excited to receive this, and I also loved that they had an elf version. So anything on their website, you can take 10% off with my code Whiskey and Whit and make your packages a little bit more happy for Christmas. Now for a quick rundown of a ton of things you can make with free printables. Super easy peasy and very inexpensive. You don't have to spend a ton to decorate like your favorite Christmas movie. So this Burn So Good McAllister aftershave is actually Dollar Tree aftershave. I just peeled off the sticker. Thank goodness it came in one piece. Trimmed down this again on that sticker paper, but you could do regular paper and apply it with some double stick tape. and put it right where that other sticker was. And I love the little detail on there. Try our new formula, better suited for first timers. I also made this Angels with Filthy Souls to look just like the movie. I grabbed a VHS for 99 cents from the thrift store. And then we're going to add it just again with the sticker paper, sticker in the center, one on the end to look just like the movie prop. I love how all these turned out, and it definitely screams Home Alone. Now here is my overall setup. I love how this turned out. We're having a Christmas party this year and kids are invited, so I wanted to set up different areas throughout the house with the different movies. So I also grabbed some extra things to go with my DIYs. This ornament is actually from an Etsy seller that I love. They do Christmas Vacation, a ton of different options. We've got the spider, the police car. And when you're putting together a tiered tray, my best piece of advice is just think of things that make you think of the movie. You can even look up the quote list. I love this toothbrush because it's a nod to when he goes to the store to get the toothbrush, the little spider for Buzz's spider, the police car for them getting busted at the end. And I had to throw in a little taxi because I love Home Alone 2, maybe even more than the first one. To make the cute little Kevin cutout, all I did was get an image from Google Images, trim it out once I printed it, and stick it to some Dollar Tree foam board with double-sided tape. Then you take an X-Acto knife, trim around the outside again, and then create just a little 90-degree triangle, little kickstand in the back, and it's good to go. This adds just a fun little element, especially because I have the Wet Bandits up top, and I cannot wait for everyone to see this setup when they come.
I'm rocking the shirt today. She's a Butte Clark. We are getting into Christmas Vacation. So let's get DIYing and decorating so I can share with you all of my projects and my setup for what I believe is the absolute best Christmas movie of all time.
This first one is so quick and easy. You're going to grab one of these glow-in-the-dark masks from Dollar Tree in their kids' play section and just spray paint it white. You can add any details that you want, but I like the movie one because it is literally just plain white. And then you can add it in the background of different things or add it to tiered trays. This wreath is something I've wanted to make for years, and this year is the year that I did it. I grabbed this Walmart wreath for about $17, some Dollar Tree work gloves, and also some Dollar Tree foam board. The first thing I needed to do was print out the image of Clark on a large enough sheet. So I printed this through Walgreens. I got a 50% off coupon, and it doesn't have to be on photo paper, but I don't have a way to print this big at my house. I can only do 8.5 by 11. I trimmed it down, stuck it to the foam board just like I did the Kevin McAllister, and trimmed it out with my Ryobi X-Acto knife. I got this thing at Pinners from their booth, and it is amazing. I will link it down below. I think it's a Home Depot exclusive, but it will make all of these projects so much easier. Up next are the lights. I got these from Amazon, and I wanted to make sure that it was one with a lot of different modes as well as a battery pack because I don't want to be plugging in a wreath. And I started by untangling the little knot that I had there and then wrapped it around. There's little clips on these lights, which is nice too. So if you get to a point where you have all reds and greens or all yellows and blues, whatever, you can kind of clip it to where it needs to go. And when you get to the end, I recommend turning your lights on so you can kind of see how it's going to glow and kind of finagle and move things around as needed. Now that our base is done, I got this Amazon Basics 6-foot extension cord and I plugged it into itself. Then this kind of is how it laid, but I used the bread tie that came with it just to hook it back together because you'll see how we will work that in a minute. I put on the gloves so that I could kind of see how I wanted them to sit if I were Clark and plugging them in, and I needed to cut a hole in the palm of the glove as well as the outside wrist to feed the cord through. Now, if I were to do this again, I would either get a green extension cord plug-in thing, or I would get tan gloves because it's kind of lost in the shuffle with it all being black. I still love it, but if you're going to make it, that would be my suggestion. Once the gloves were on there where I wanted them, I stuffed them with a little bit of polyfill so that they weren't like limp and it would actually look like there were hands in there. Then I glued both wrists of my gloves down so that the polyfill wouldn't come out, and then it was time to kind of get it sitting where I wanted. I used some hot glue to glue the fingers together just because the fist motion is how Clark plugs the lights in, so that made more sense to me. And then I used a couple dabs of glue on the low temp setting just to get the hands to stay on the extension cord. Then we're going to take that extra wire of the extension cord, pop it out the back, and I used painter's tape to hook it to my Clark. That is going to hold Clark up. It's going to keep everything in place. And then any other pieces that are trying to fall when you pick up the wreath, I just took some of this like Baker automotive twine from Dollar Tree and tied it in, just making sure that I was hiding any of the pieces of the twine within the wreath. Then my last step was to hang it up, see if anything fell off, which it didn't. Woohoo! I tied everything good with the twine. And then I got to tucking with my glue gun to get the hands where I wanted it. I am 10 out of 10 obsessed with this wreath. There are a few different versions floating around online. There is a wreath maker that I did see on TikTok that had a similar one, and that's what reignited my mind to make it again this year. One of my favorite scenes from Christmas Vacation is the sledding scene, and I wanted to make a container of the kitchen lubricant that they put on the sled. So I just grabbed a small little container from Dollar Tree. This is spray deodorant, but you can resize it to whatever you have. I cut down this label that I created in Canva and stuck it to the outside. Now, I'm big on details when it comes to these Christmas movie setups, and so this label is riddled with Easter eggs and all of these little bits from Christmas Vacation. So it's the actual name that Clark calls it, layman's terms, none of that BS jargon nobody understands, which is what the boss says to him when he asks for a write-up. The date is actually the day before he crashes the sled on the movie. Different things that they say when they're sledding. Also, you know, if the sled flies out of control, you're on your own, and it's made by Nutritox, which is Griswold's company. I love details. I hope you do too. Grab this printable and stick it on whatever you have. Now this next one I absolutely love, but I cannot take any credit whatsoever for this because it was someone else's idea that Shannon sent me, but I fell in love. This image popped up on Shannon's Facebook. She texted it to me and said, oh my gosh, you have to make it. And I said, okay, sure. This was 3 days before this video was going up, and I was like, you know what, we're going to crank it out. So we're grabbing some foam board from Dollar Tree, and I'm taking some 1x2 furring strips, just some cheap wood, and we're going to cut 2 pieces to 30 inches. Then we're going to measure each side between the 2 pieces to create the side of our window. Measure straight across. Then once that's in there, measure the top and the bottom so you can create a window like this. You don't need a big saw. You could use a small like miter box if you need to. We're going to sand it down and stain it. I used Early American, but you can use whatever you want. The people in the inspo actually used an old window, but I don't have that, and I think this is cheaper than trying to find one secondhand. Then I printed a 20x30 poster print of this image that I took of the movie because there's not a really good picture of Cousin Eddie in the pool. So I made my own. I will have this over on my blog if you want to use the same thing. It's a little pixelated, but you can't tell once everything's on there. Once I had the poster stuck to the foam board with double-sided tape, I flipped it over and used a staple gun with 1/4-inch staples to hook the top and the bottom, then both sides, then the stringer across the center, and then the 2 split pieces. Now that we have our window, we need some Griswold window dressings. So this fabric is from Hobby Lobby, but you can use whatever tartan print you have. I used a hot glue gun and a 1/2-inch dowel rod that I had in my garage to create this valance. A 1 yard doubled up piece of fabric fit the frame perfectly, so I used my little dowel rod to make a seam at the top, and then I made a second one so you kind of get that puckering at the top similar to what the window is like in the movie. I laid it down, got it where I needed it, and then I cut out the window. This is probably not like kosher for people that sew regularly, but this is the down and dirty version. I told you guys I was on a timeline. It worked out great though because I just followed the plaid stripes, cut out the window part, and then I kind of got it where it needed to be. I used some hot glue to secure the ends so my dowel rod wouldn't fall out. I strategically picked places around the outside of my frame to hot glue the backing fabric just so then that way it would stay. It's not heavy, so I wasn't worried about it pulling anything down. I just didn't want it to fall off. Get everything kind of fluffed where you want it. And then once I had glued everything down, I realized I kind of wanted it to look like the drapes were pulled back and tied. So I cut some scrap pieces and pulled off just a little bit of fabric from where I glued it onto the frame so I could tuck that piece of fabric underneath and tie it. Once it was tied, it was good to go. You can add whatever you want to the back to hang it, but I think I'm going to have it be more leaning in the area where I have my full-on Christmas Vacation setup. The amount of stuff that I have for Christmas Vacation is quite insane, so I have not gotten that fully set up in my house yet, but once I do, I will share a short or a reel or something so you guys can see it. For now, here is a fun setup of just a sampling of the things that I have, including the DIYs that I did for this video, including an alternative movie poster. I love this one up top with the mask and the Santa and the moose mug. It is wonderful.
So if you thought I wasn't going to do this next movie in this video, you're probably an angry elf, but don't worry, there is room for everyone on the nice list. Let's get into it. My second favorite Christmas movie of all time, Elf.
First up is another quick and easy printable DIY. We are going to print this out to the size of the container that you have. If you have anything that is amber glass, this is actually just a plastic container from Dollar Tree, but you can go thrifting, use whatever you have, just stick the sticker on it, and you've got a fun little container of maple syrup. This is another one where I went a little crazy with the details, so you'll have to check out the file to see everything that it says. If you've been noticing the smaller books and plushies throughout my setups, they came from Kohl's. They're part of Kohl's Cares, and you can find them by the checkout. They're also available online, and I will link them down below for all the movies that I used. Also from Dollar Tree, I grabbed this 2-pack of doll furniture chairs. I spray painted them red, and then I added the text, "You sit on a throne of lies," to it. I kind of wanted to make it a Santa chair, but then once I just put the wording on it, I loved how it looked just like this. So I went with that and added it to my items that I could put on my tier tray. A couple years ago, I created an Etch-a-Sketch from a larger wood sign that Shannon sent me in a mystery box. And this year, I wanted to make one that was smaller that would actually fit on my tiered tray because the other one's too large. I started with a 5x7 wood canvas, spray painted it red just for the sake of time and drying because I was already spray painting other stuff. And I spray painted 2 of these little wood plugs to be the handles. I took it inside and gave the back 2 coats of a silver paint. This is Arteza, just the color silver, but it gives it that Etch-a-Sketch look. And took some hot glue to add both of my knobs to either side. Then to finish off the look, I added a decal that has the quintessential line from the movie, "Sorry I ruined your lives," and crammed 11 cookies into the VCR. "I'll never forget you, love, Buddy." I applied this to the center with some paper transfer tape. Word to the wise, I would cut it down when you're going into a crevice like this. It gave me a little bit of a headache, but I was able to fix it. So just trim down your transfer tape. And then I added Etch-a-Sketch, the logo, to the top. I have a way that you can add the logo and the text by tracing versus using a cutting machine if you don't have one. So I will link that original video up above so that you can check that out. I love all of the scenes in Gimples and Elf, so I had to recreate this free printable banner, "Welcome Santa." So you can get this file, this PDF, over on my blog. Just print it out. I suggest on some white cardstock, cut them out, and then I punched holes in either corner. Now you might notice that they're hearts because I couldn't find my regular punch. Nonetheless, that plus some hand cut snowflakes is just what this setup needed. And if you are unsure how to make your own snowflakes, no worries. There are a ton of templates online. Just Google, hand cut paper snowflake template, something like that. But I just kind of had a blast. It was very cathartic and I cut my own. For the past month or so, I've been chatting back and forth with Courtney from Creative on the Cheap on how to dupe this pillow because she loves Elf so much, and I decided to take a stab at it. So I grabbed some felt from Michael's. This is one of their large sheets, and I folded it in half. I also grabbed some apricot color. I ordered an apricot color from Amazon, and it showed up and it was not the right color, so we ended up just going with this color. It was similar to the inspiration. The circle doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it to be a decent size. And then I'm using some stiffer felt. This is actually the Cricut brand felt, but you don't need this. You just want it to be a little bit stiffer so that feather will stick up in his hat. The first thing I'm doing is taking some white twine and doing a blanket stitch on the seam where both of them came together. Then I am going to tie it off and I'm going to flip it. So essentially now this feels like a potato chip bag, and I'm going to do the blanket stitch across the bottom. Then we're going to stuff it with some polyfill, and then we're going to create his face. I did the same technique I normally do to make my fabric pillows, so I am just taking a dowel needle and going in and out, weaving to create what looks like a shower cap, but it's going to turn into Buddy's face. Once you get all the way around the outside, then we're going to stuff the inside of our shower cap, Buddy's face, And then we are going to cut another piece and just stitch that on the top. You could also hot glue it, but my hot glue gun was being finicky and it didn't heat up quick enough, so I just decided to stitch it myself. Then I rolled some felt to create a shape for Buddy's hat, and I had to kind of mess around with it because for a while it looked more like the elves that were at the North Pole versus Buddy's hat. So I kind of got my general shape. I cut a yellow strip for the hat, glued it down, and did some trimming, including cutting off the top tip at an angle, and that really helped it look more like Buddy's hat. I also took some more hot glue and added my little feather to the top, and it's really starting to look like Buddy now. Up next, we need to add his signature curly hair. So I got this brown yarn. It's very thick and it resembles kind of curly hair. So I cut little pieces to fit all the way around the hat line, and then I glued them to the face piece. Once those were all glued down where I wanted them, I made sure all of the ends were aligned so there weren't like stragglers of pieces of hair. Then I glued the hat on, and then it was time to glue the head on the body. Before I did the body, I needed to do that same in and out weaving and pull it taut, kind of like a Santa sack, to create the body, and then I glued the head onto the body. I added a couple additional details like a black strip of felt with the little belt, and then I also did his little white, it looks like a pilgrim collar. I don't know what it's called, but in my head I'm calling it a pilgrim collar. This all came together so fun, and it was way, way, way cheaper than the Pottery Barn version. Now here's my overall elf setup when you come in my front door. This is a DIY I did in last week's video, so I will link that for you if you want to check it out. I've got a lot of Hallmark ornaments. This little gift card holder came from Walmart. Another one of those alternative movie posters, a little taxi box. I also did a big Buddy foam cutout as well as the snowman. And this just makes my heart so happy seeing all of these elements together. I definitely think so many of you will want to print out this Welcome Santa for either your cubicle, your office, for school, whatever. And let me know if you recreate it, take a picture, and tag me.
If you are a fan of the throwback movies, all of the claymation ones like Rudolph and Frosty and all of those, then this next chunk is going to be for you. Let's get decorating this tiered tray with some fun Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer inspired decor.
Another fun project I made in the last video was this Rudolph nightlight, and the great thing about it is the SVG can be used on anything. So I wanted to share this, send you over to that video so you can download that file and use it on whatever you want. I lucked out this year and found a lot of fun Rudolph things. These window clings actually came from Meijer of all places, and I took a Dollar Tree jar, spray painted the lid apple red, and once that was dry, I brought it back in and took the window clings and applied it to the jar. I thought this would make an awesome piece of decor, but also something that would be great to gift, especially because you could reuse the window clings afterwards. So if you know somebody that likes Rudolph, put it on the jar, put some little trinkets or little chocolates, which I'll show you a couple options here in a second, and it would be awesome. For decor, I just added some of those little squigglies that I have, but then for a gift, you could add a gift card, different little treats like this. I found all of these at Walgreens, so you could stick with the theme or you could branch out from there, and I love it. This turned out so cute. When I knew I was doing this video, I ordered these two cardboard cutouts from Oriental Trading, and I wanted to have Yukon Cornelius, and Yukon Cornelius, I mean, the little mustache says it all. I made those just like I made all of my other cardboard cutouts earlier on, and that saved me, and I could also make them the size that I wanted to for my tiered tray. So many of these items came from Hobby Lobby, and some of the other ones came from Walmart. These are Hobby Lobby's ornaments, and unfortunately, some of the noses, like Clarice's here, popped off, which is such a bummer. So I would not recommend those, but the ones I found at Walmart are a little bit better quality. Overall, I love this. It gives me such a feeling of nostalgia, and I would definitely recommend checking out Oriental Trading for your holiday Christmas pop culture needs.
This next one is so highly requested. It has been requested for years, and I hate to admit it, but this is not one of my favorite Christmas movies, but I am doing this for the craft buddies that requested it. So let's hop in. I hope you feel like you won a major award because it is time for a Christmas story.
I was strolling through the aisles of Kohl's one day with Finn and ended up seeing this wine topper, and I knew it was coming home with me to make a DIY. I ordered a wood man, and these are the ones I used last year to make Clark and Eddie. If you are interested in seeing that, check out my Christmas vacation video from 2022. I will link it. But I wanted to make one of these look like Ralphie. So I had to trim the legs just so they were more like pants instead of a wine cover. And then I also had to trim the bottom part to have the feet come out. But once I did that, I was able to put it right on the doll and easy peasy, good to go. Ralphie's Oh Fudge soap is another quick and easy printable project. I feel like that is really one of the best ways to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to Christmas movies is do printables. So I cut this down and applied it with some hot glue, and I struggled a little bit. Actually, I struggled a lot. So the easiest thing is to add a little bit of hot glue to the actual front of your tape, stick your graphic where you want it, and then wrap it instead of trying to start at the end. Nonetheless, we made it through, and I think this turned out so cute, and I definitely did make a typo. It should say, try to find a soap better than ours. I triple dog dare ya, so I fixed that file for you over on my blog. Another printable option is to take the case that we had left over from the Home Alone Angels with Filthy Souls and create a faux VHS container for your favorite movies. This ended up being 6.5 by 8.375 to fit inside the VHS container. What I love so much about this is it's a sign, it's a riser, there are a ton of different ways you can use it, and I got literally 2 projects out of a 99-cent VHS, and if you already have VHSs at home, you might not even have to buy it. This is another one of those alternative movie posters. I told you guys I'm obsessed. I made so many of them. And what is a Christmas story without a fragile box? I took a kind of tongue depressor size paint stir stick and cut it down so it would go edge to edge, hot glued that down, and then took 2 small craft sticks for the top and the bottom, glued them down once I got them trimmed. Then I cut Fragile out on a fun font that I liked, but you could also definitely hand letter this as well. And something else I cut when I was cutting Fragile out, I keep wanting to say when I cut Fragile out, which I guess is technically the same thing, but when I cut that out, I cut out this little crack for these glasses from Dollar Tree. You can find so many items to customize at Dollar Tree. And then I added the Fragile, we'll just go with it, text to the box. These are super inexpensive, quick and easy to put together, and I just paired it with this Hallmark ornament that I got at Walmart for like $8. This whole thing put together is so cute. And I added one of these cards I found at Walmart. I just trimmed the bottom off so it would fit on my tiered tray. So it just says, "Oh Fudge" with Ralphie's face, and that sits up because you can open it because it's a card. The other ornament is also Hallmark, and the major award gift card holder came from Walmart. So it helps to think of things that make you think of the movie, but then also using some of these licensed merchandise items that you can get for affordable prices to round out your entire display.
I hope you guys loved watching this video as much as I did putting it together. Christmas movies are just so fun, and it's nice to DIY those items because you can keep it within a budget, but also have it customized to what parts of those movies really resonate with you. Be sure to tag me in your pictures on social media if you recreate any of these or you put together your own tiered tray, because I absolutely love seeing what you guys create. If you're already a craft buddy, thank you for being here and sticking with me till the end. If you're not already a craft buddy, hit subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any more Christmas content coming your way. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Happy holidays!